Hey guys, it's your Choose to Win coach, your Texas realtor and Texas broker here. I wanted to get on today and talk about database. Now, database, I'm going to be talking about specific to the context of real estate, but I'm a firm believer that database is going to be a primary driver for any business, really. Now, the systems and the principles I'm going to be talking about are specific to my real estate business, but they can be generally applied to any business. So whether you're in real estate or whether you're in basically any kind of selling or customer service industry, you can take the same principles and apply them regardless of your industry. So answering a couple questions here. What is a database? That's going to be kind of the first question that we answer. And then the more obvious question is, why do I need a database? So before I get into those two, I want to give you guys some numbers on specifically realtors and their income, because a database, the whole purpose of a database is to generate business. And if you're not generating business, you're not making money, which means you're probably not going to stay in the business very long. So for myself, for example, when I was first in real estate, my first 12 months in real estate, so my first 12 months, the very first year I was in real estate, I made a total of 2 sales. That's right, 2 sales. I'm a little embarrassed to say that, but there it is. So 2 sales my entire 12 months. And as you can imagine, I did not make very much money my first year. So as a result of that, I had to basically go out and get a bunch of side hustles just to pay the bills. So the average income, or the median income, I should say, for realtors with less than 2 years of experience is $8,900. So $8,900 for an entire year worth of work. If you have less than 2 years experience, that's not a very big number. The other shocking statistic is that 87% of realtors fail. 87% of realtors are no longer in the business at the 5-year mark. So, as you kind of put those two things together, if you're making $8,900 your first 2 years, and most agents don't make it past 5 years, the odds are that that number probably does not increase and they get out of the business because they're not making money. Now, I've been in the business 6 years. I've been fortunate and I've been blessed. Last year, I made just over $100,000 in income by commissions alone. So I made about $106,000, a little over $4 million in sales. And phenomenal year, great year. Really happy with those numbers, really happy with those results. But probably the best thing about that is that I did that 100% by repeat and referral business. I didn't pay for one single internet lead. Not one of those closings came from anything other than people that I had worked with that were either referring me business, or people that I had worked with previously that were maybe coming back into the market and buying either an investment property, or maybe moving up in house, moving down in house because the kids were no longer there, whatever the situation may be. That was 100% of my business last year, that being 2020. And as I mentioned, I made $106,000. So that being said, that's a proven model that it can work. Now, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. And one of the more common excuses from the agents that I mentor and teach these principles to is that they're not from here, or they've only lived here, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. So I myself am a native San Antonian, but I'd say probably half my clients are people that moved here from out of state that I had no previous contact with until we started doing business. And they were referred to me by previous clients. Maybe they had, sometimes it's a work connection, sometimes it's a family connection, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people, large majority of my business last year was from people moving in and out of state. I work with a lot of investors from out of state. I work with a lot of people that have moved here, in the last 5-6 years, and now their family's moving here, or they have a work colleague that's moving here, or something along those lines. So it's basically the concept of growing the relationships that you have and deepening those relationships and working with people that you truly want to work with. That was my biggest incentive, because when you're doing internet leads and when you're doing cold calling, when you're doing open houses, you have very, very little control over who you end up working with. You get an internet lead, you call them, there are probably 5 other agents that are calling them at the same time. And if you happen to be the first person they talk to, there's a good chance you get the business. For me, a database has been life-changing because, for one, it eliminates my need to pay for leads, because all the leads that I get All the referrals that I get are from people that I know, that I've done business with, that I have some kind of relationship with. And those people are in my database because I enjoy working with them and I would do business with them again in the future. So what I have noticed, one of the biggest side benefits besides not having to pay for leads, is that I actually like working with the people that I work with. Now, I know that may seem a bit silly, but if you've been in real estate or any industry really, you know that not all people are created equally. Some clients are very easy to work with, and then you have other clients that you never ever want to do business with again. And for me, those clients that have ended up in my database, that I have stayed in contact with, that I've nurtured the relationships with, are people that I enjoy doing business with and that I would do business with again. And what I have found is that those people refer me, generally speaking, people that are similar to themselves. So the people that I'm getting referred are like the people that I've already done business with. I like doing business with those people. So generally speaking, I like doing business with the people that I'm referred to. And that has made all the difference in the world because I have that personal relationship. You have that pre-existing connection via the referral. So it makes everything in the entire transaction start off that much smoother because you're not some random person that they found online that's now calling them saying, hey, I got your inquiry, you're interested in such and such house. No, it's like, hey, so-and-so over here referred me. We're going to be moving into town and we need your help finding a house. Great, that's awesome. Yeah, I love working with them. I'm looking forward to working with you guys too. Then you go into your dialogue. Tell me a little bit about your situation. What are you guys looking for? Tell me more about your family. And that's a big difference. Now, the other significant difference is why you should have a database is that without a database, you don't have a business. So at the end of the day, if your whole system is holding open houses, maybe you do circle prospecting, you farm a neighborhood in the sense of you're mailing out to it every month, maybe you host an event in the area, whatever the case may be. Now, those are all great, but what are you doing with the leads, with the relationships, with the transactions that you get out of that? Are you putting them in a database where you're intentionally nurturing them and growing that relationship and intentionally asking for those referrals? Or is it something you just do the business and then you move on? Now, 78% of people say they would use the same realtor that they used on their first deal, but they don't remember them. People don't buy houses every month. So if you don't stay in front of them, if you're not consistent with the contacts, then 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road when they're ready to buy again, they're like, hey, who was our agent? I really liked him, but I can't remember his name. How are they going to find you? How are they going to contact you? They're not. Now, if you're there and you're present and you've been contacting them on a monthly basis, providing value, providing service, providing that consistent relationship, then you're going to be the first person they call when they're thinking about real estate. They hear a friend thinking about real estate. You're going to, hey, you got to talk to my guy Michael over here. He's great. He helped us with our house. And that's ultimately the bottom line, guys, is that it's about people. It's a people business, as is anything in sales, but specifically with real estate, it's about people. And this is the biggest investment that they're ever going to make in most cases. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're investing into this future home of theirs, and they're trusting you to guide them through the process. Now, that means you have to be knowledgeable about the process itself, but you also have to give a damn. Now, if you don't really care about people, then you're probably in the wrong business, and they're going to know that, and they're not going to refer you. So obviously, you have to be competent, but beyond that, it's about follow-up. Once a transaction's closed, then that's where many realtors leave it. Transaction closed, they get their paycheck, and then they're done. They're off to the next thing. They're back doing open houses. They're back doing prospecting. They're back cold calling. Not that you shouldn't do those things, but my point is that if that's your entire business model, then eventually one day when you want to get out of the business and you want to maybe sell the business, what are you going to sell? You're going to sell yourself doing the open houses? You're going to sell yourself doing the prospecting, the cold calling? No, because you're trying to get out of the business. So therefore, if you're the only method of generating business is you and your prospecting, then you have nothing to sell. If your whole system is built around internet leads, Say you're paying a couple $1,000 a month in Zillow. Well, that's great, but anybody can do that. Like, there's nothing unique or sellable about that. Same thing with realtor.com. You know, maybe you build a website out and you're paying for pay-per-click ads. That's great, but when you stop paying for the ads, the leads stop coming. So again, it's not something that's sustainable in the long term. It's not something that you can sell, and it's something that's going to keep you tied down because you have to keep paying for it. You have to keep putting in the work. You have to keep doing all these things, or it dries up. And that's the beautiful thing about a database is you stay in front of them. And as you build out your database, I have 100 core people in my database. And with those 100 people have become my advocates. So they're out there speaking on my behalf. And that's where I get my business, because they have a family member that's thinking about moving. They have a friend that's thinking about moving. They have a coworker that's thinking about moving. And because I'm intentional, because I stay in contact with them on a monthly basis, I do a monthly newsletter. I do a corresponding monthly email. And then depending on my relationship, I will call and or text them and just check in and see how things are going on a monthly basis. The other thing that I do that's unique to this system is notes and pop buys. Now, so notes, I mean quite literally personal notes, like a little note card. Get this, fill it out, put it in an envelope, stamp it and send it. So this is what I do after every single phone call. If I meet a client for the first time, I'm sending them a thank you note. Just nice to meet you, looking forward to working with you. And I have a little business card in there, just a little personal touch, nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be long or extensive, but it's something that communicates that they're important to you. And it's something that communicates that you value them. Probably most importantly of all, nobody does it on a regular basis anymore. I mean, when's the last time you got a handwritten note card in the mail? I honestly can't remember the last time. So the other thing that I do is pop buys. And what that is that's just like, this is an example of something that I'm doing this month because it's Easter. So it's a basket of little treats. So Peeps, got some little carrot shaped candies here, and then some Smarties. And basically what I do is I put all that in a basket, fill it up with little goodies like that, bam. And then I take one of these guys, this is my little Popeye tag. It says Easter treats for my favorite Peeps. Stick that with it. And then what I do is I drop these off with my clients. I just go give them a call, shoot them a text and say, hey, I'm gonna be in the area and I'd love to drop a little Easter present off for you. And obviously I don't do Easter all year round, but that's an example because I'm recording this right before Easter. And that's something that, again, it's a unique touch. It shows value that you care and you're taking your time to create this thing and to give it to them. And that communicates value because time is the most precious commodity. And again, it gives you that kind of reinforces that relationship. And this whole thing doesn't have to be expensive. It's just more of a token. You know, Peeps like $1 each. So maybe, you know, including the basket, like $5 a piece. Like that's well worth it for me to invest $5 in that relationship and just say, hey, you know, it's nothing crazy, but I was thinking about you and I just wanted to drop this off and say Happy Easter. And that's what I do every single month, time after time after time. It's just on repeat. I have 100 people, different people in my database. Each one of them is ranked accordingly. So from the people that have given me the most referrals to maybe people that I haven't actually done any business with, but I've had some kind of interaction and I've had a conversation and they're willing to refer me if the opportunity comes up. So depending on where they fall in there, I'm going to talk to them or they're going to get some kind of a little token or a little gift from me every single month. Maybe it's every 3 months if it's somebody that I haven't actually done business with. But the point is that I'm intentional. I'm intentional doing it every single day, every single week. And that's my lead generation. That's my prospecting. And the beautiful thing about that is, again, I'm building a database and I'm building those relationships. So one day when I want to get out of this business, I have something I can sell. I can take this and say, hey, this database produced $4 million for me as a single agent last year. I am willing to sell this to you and introduce you to all of my clients. And the level of service that I provide, I'm going to expect them to provide. Maybe I do it on a referral basis. I start a team and I step out. And now my team is running the business and my team is managing everything. I have all the systems in place, but I can completely step away and it's self-contained. But what's more important is I enjoy doing it because I enjoy those relationships and I enjoy interacting and meeting with and hosting those people. Every November, I have a Thanksgiving pie party, and that's literally just like it sounds. I give everybody a gigantic pie from Costco, and that's just kind of a thank you for being a client and happy Thanksgiving. So a little more extensive, a little more goes into that, but at the same time, it's the same thing. It's just showing value, showing appreciation, and again, deepening that relationship. If you're still watching, then hopefully I've convinced you that a database is necessary, and a database is something that is going to change your business and going to give you an actual business that you can sell one day. So if you are brand new to an area, you have no clue, you know nobody. Let's just say bare bones, you know nobody. Then every time you're prospecting, every time you're doing whatever form of lead generation you're doing, you are making contacts. And a database doesn't have to be massive. It can be very small and it will grow organically if you're intentional with it. So what I would suggest doing is, whether you know a lot of people or you know hardly anybody, write down on either a piece of paper or ideally get a spreadsheet out and put everybody's name, everybody that you know. If you have a phone number for them, put that. If you have an email address for them, add that. If you have your friends on Facebook, note that. Basically just the name and any kind of contact information that you would be able to get or have for them, put down as well. Go through your Facebook friends list, go through your Twitter account, go through all your social media, wherever it may be. Maybe it's for you, maybe you're heavily involved in your church. Okay, write down everybody you know from church. Write down everybody you know from your kid's sporting event. Write down everybody you know from the garden club, whatever it is. You have some kind of a built-in network, and the odds are you know a lot more people than you think you do. And the whole goal here is just getting started to get it out of your head and onto paper, whether that's physical paper, whether that's a spreadsheet, whatever it may be. And once it's out, once it's on paper, then you can go through and do what I call qualifying. Now, if you want much more detailed, specific advice on this, the system that I follow and that I use currently is a Referral Maker system, and that's by Brian Buffini. Google that. If you're interested, leave me a comment or shoot me an email, and I can send you a 30-day trial to use their CRM, and that will walk you through step-by-step qualifying and organizing your entire database. But the reason I say do it on a spreadsheet is because once it's on a spreadsheet, you can then upload it to any contact management software that you use. I am a believer in keeping that separate from any brokerage CRM that I use, just because I've been in the business 6 years and I've been with 4 different brokers. So rather than importing and exporting that every single time to these different brokers, I've taken the position that this is specifically what they do, as in Buffini and the Referral Maker. Like, that is their entire business, is coaching real estate agents to build businesses by referral. So that's 100% what they do. And I want something that's completely dedicated to just that. So any other leads I get related to anything else, sometimes I get a random lead from my website. Sometimes it's a listing inquiry, sometimes it's a buyer's inquiry, but those will come through my company CRM. And I will keep those separate until the point in time where I've had a relationship and we've established that, okay, this person is not committed to an agent. They're somebody that I want to do business with, and they are willing to refer me, and they're not committed to another agent that they would refer. And that's essentially qualifying. You want to make sure that whoever is in your database is somebody that will do business with you, and more importantly, that will refer your name or refer people to you if they happen to hear about somebody moving. And at the start, all you're looking to do is just get the names out of your head and on paper. Once that's done, then you need to start having the conversation. And I'm going to make a separate video just on qualifying and stuff, but for purposes of this, if you're convinced you need a database and you want to get started, then get a spreadsheet out and start putting the names in. If all you can find is an email, that's okay. Send them an email, reconnect with them, try to establish that rapport. And once that's done, then see if you can get the additional contact information, get their phone number, get their address. Ideally you want a phone number, an address, and an email for every single person, because you're going to be calling them, you're going to be popping by, so you need the address, and you should have some form of an email that goes out on a monthly basis as well. So no matter who's in my database, whatever their quote unquote ranking is, every single month, my top 100 people get a letter from me, a newsletter with relevant information, whether it's on the market data, credit, moving, home upgrades. It varies month to month, but every single month they get that in their mailbox. And then around the middle of the month, they're also going to get a corresponding email that covers a different aspect of a similar topic. So one of the ones we did recently, because tax season just passed, it was updates on the tax changes as far as the law goes. It was deductions that you can take, things like that. So it was relevant information, not necessarily to real estate, but almost everybody out there is going to be filing their taxes. So getting that in their mail, back in February when everybody's starting to think about taxes because they're getting their W-2s, they're getting their 1099s, whatever the case may be, that provides value. And then again, in the middle of the month, that typically goes out the first week, and then somewhere in the middle of the month, they're going to get an email from me with more information on that same tax topic. So whether or not I talk to them on the phone, whether or not I pop by, whether or not I text message them, they're automatically getting those 2 points of contact every month. And the feedback that I have gotten has been overwhelmingly that people enjoy that and they want to keep receiving it because it's not junk and it's something that adds value. So you don't have to use the system I use. You don't have to use Referral Maker. You don't have to have them do the mail outs for you. You don't have to do any of that. But it is important to put some kind of a system behind it. And that's what I'm going to get into in my next video, is qualifying your database. And then once your database is qualified, how do you go about growing and nurturing and being intentional with giving your database the time that it deserves, so it will turn into something and start bearing fruit for you. Anyway, guys, hope that helps. If you're interested in some more information on this, you want to set up some kind of a consultation, I do have limited spots available for strategy sessions. And basically what that's going to be is a deep dive into your why, essentially what drives you, making sure real estate is the right place for you to be. If you're not in real estate, making sure that is the right place. If it's not, it's not. And you're like me, like I was years ago. I didn't know where I was going. I know I didn't like the medical field. I knew I didn't particularly want to stay there, but I didn't know where else to go. So I was kind of stuck, and I hated being stuck, but I also didn't have options because I didn't know where to go and I didn't know what I ultimately wanted to do. And the job I had was paying the bills. So I got into real estate, and now I'm getting into coaching, which is ultimately what I've always wanted to do. So I'd love to help you guys out if you find yourself in that situation. You have all my contact information on the following slide here. Feel free to shoot me a text message. Again, if you guys are interested in getting a look at the CRM, the Referral Maker CRM, shoot me a message, give me a call, leave a comment, and I can send you a free 30-day trial over for that, so you can poke around with it and just kind of see if that's something that might be a good fit for you. Tune in next Friday. I'm going to be breaking down the database a little bit further. I'll actually pull up mine and show you guys what I do, what this stuff looks like. And if that seems like something that you might be interested in doing, then I would encourage you to check it out. I've been doing it for 3 years now. And like I said, last year was one of my better years, and had a 6-figure income off of database alone. So hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe out there. Have a happy Easter, and I'll talk to you later.